You finished your 200-hour yoga teacher training. Now everyone's asking, are you going to get your 500? Well, maybe not everyone, but you and your buddies from training are asking. Here's how to actually think about that question. I'm Sage Roundtree. I run both a 200-hour and a 300-hour yoga teacher training, so I have had this conversation hundreds of times with teachers who are 2 months post-certification and teachers who've been at it for 15 years or longer. The answer is different for each of them, and I'm going to help you figure out which answer is yours. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what RYT-200 and RYT-500 mean, what the 300-hour training in between actually involves, and how to decide whether more training is right for you right now, or whether your time and money are better spent somewhere else. If you're a yoga teacher thinking through career questions like this one, The Zone is my free community. Over 2,900 yoga teachers, monthly live calls, and real conversations about the business and craft of teaching. Links in the description. Let's start with the basics because there can be a lot of confusion here. RYT-200 means you've completed a 200-hour yoga teacher training through a Yoga Alliance registered school. That's the foundational credential. In theory, it qualifies you to teach yoga at studios, gyms, community centers, anywhere that hires yoga teachers. For most teaching opportunities, this is all you need. If you want to teach at a gym, this is a good credential to have. RYT-500 means you've completed an additional 300 hours of advanced training on top of your 200. So it's really 200 plus 300 equals 500. You typically don't take a single 500-hour program, although some do exist. Usually you build it in 2 stages, first the 200 and then the 300. Then there are the experience-based designations, the E's. E-RYT-200 means you've logged 1,000 hours of teaching after your 200-hour training. E-RYT-500 means you've completed your 500 hours of training and logged 1,000 hours of teaching after earning your RYT-500. Why does E-RYT-500 matter? Because it's the designation you need to become a YACEP, a Yoga Alliance continuing education provider, or to serve as a lead trainer for a Yoga Alliance registered teacher training. If you ever want to offer CEUs or eventually lead your own YTT, E-RYT-500 is the gateway. So the question isn't really 200 or 500. The question is, what do I want to do with my teaching, and which designation supports that? Here's something I believe strongly. A 200-hour certification is enough to teach well for years, maybe forever, depending on what your teaching career looks like. If your goal is to teach group classes at a studio or gym, to offer private sessions, to build a small local following of students who love what you do not need 500 hours of training to do that well. What you need is teaching experience, hours in the room, getting in the reps with real students. I've seen teachers with 200 hours who are extraordinary because they've been teaching consistently and paying attention to what works. And I've seen teachers with 800 plus hours of training who still don't feel confident because they've spent more time learning than doing. The credential isn't what makes you good. The teaching makes you good. The credential is a starting point. So if you just finished your 200 and you're feeling pressure, whether it's internal or external, to immediately sign up for a 300-hour program, take a breath, go teach for 6 months, teach for a year. Pay attention to the moments where you feel stuck or limited. Those moments will tell you exactly what kind of advanced training, if any, is worth your time. That said, there are real practical reasons to pursue a 300-hour training and the RYT-500 designation. The most concrete one is if you want to lead your own teacher trainings or offer continuing education credits. Remember, you'll need E-RYT-500 if you're playing in the Yoga Alliance system. That means completing a 300-hour program and then logging 1,000 teaching hours after your RYT-500. And the clock on those teaching hours doesn't start until you have the credential. So if leading trainings is in your long-term vision, there's a timing argument for starting your 300 sooner rather than later. Beyond that, a good 300-hour training deepens your skills in ways a 200 simply can't. 200 hours gives you the foundation. 300 more gives you the nuance, more sophisticated sequencing skills, deeper understanding of how to work with specific populations, the ability to theme and layer your classes in ways that will keep your students coming back. It also signals something to studios and to students. Not everyone looks at credentials, but some hiring managers do. Some students might, though I have never personally been asked whether I have the credential, but instead where I got it. RYT-500 tells them you've invested seriously in your education. It's not the only signal that matters, but it is one. And honestly, as somebody speaking to you with a PhD in English literature but working as a yoga teacher, education for education's sake is never a bad thing. If you love learning, if the process of going deeper into yoga teaching genuinely excites you, that's reason enough. You don't need a business justification for every hour of study. Sometimes you pursue more training because it makes you a more thoughtful and a more capable human being who happens to teach yoga. If you've decided that more training does make sense for you, here are a few things to consider. First, timing. The ideal time to start a 300-hour program is after you've been teaching regularly for a while, maybe at least a year and ideally longer. You want enough classroom experience that you know what your growth edges are. A 300-hour training is most valuable when you can bring real teaching questions to it, not just hypothetical ones. Second, consider the structure. Some 300-hour programs are intensive. You complete everything in a few months or even weeks. Others, like mine at Comfort Zone Yoga, are modular. You build your 300 hours over time, choosing components that match your interests and your goals. Neither is inherently better, but modular programs let you integrate the learning as you go, which I personally think produces deeper growth. Third, consider specialization. A good 300-hour training shouldn't be 200-hour training but make it harder. It should let you go deep into specific areas like sequencing or yin yoga or restorative yoga or trauma-informed teaching or yoga nidra or working with specific populations. Choose a program that lets you build expertise where you actually want it. Fourth, consider the trainer. This matters even more at the 300-hour level than the 200. You're not learning fundamentals anymore. You are refining your craft. You want someone who is actively teaching, who has a clear methodology, and whose teaching philosophy aligns with yours. Do your research. Here's how I would boil this down. If you just finished your 200, go teach. Build your confidence through experience, not credentials. Your 200 is enough to start, and it might be enough for a very long time. If you've been teaching for a while and you feel a specific pull toward a deeper learning, a topic, a population, a skill you want to develop, or even a lead teacher that you want to learn from, then that's probably the right time for a 300. If you want to lead trainings or offer CEU someday down the road, start planning your 300 path now, because the teaching hours clock doesn't start until you have the credential. And if you just love learning and want to keep growing as a teacher and a human being, that is a perfectly good reason too. Education is never wasted. I would love to know, where are you in this decision? Have you just finished your 200? Have you been teaching for a while? Or are you already thinking about your 300? I am genuinely curious where you are in the journey. Drop it in the comments, so please let me know. If you're at the point where more training does feel right, my 300-hour advanced yoga teacher training is modular. You build it around your goals and your timeline. The core is Mastering the Art of Yoga Sequencing, a 6-month mentorship membership that teaches you a repeatable system for building classes that work for whoever shows up. From there, you'll add specialty modules, teaching yoga to athletes, yin, restorative, balance, trauma-informed, yoga nidra, teaching core based on what you want to learn. It's not one size fits all, and there's no rigid schedule. The links are in the description. If you're not there yet, come hang out in the zone at Comfort Zone Yoga. It's free. There are almost 3,000 yoga teachers in there, and it's a great place for you to figure out your next step with support from your colleagues. The link for that is below. Your students don't need you to have more letters after your name. They need you to keep showing up, keep paying attention and keep getting a little better at the craft of teaching them yoga. Whether that means a 300-hour training or just 10 more hours of thoughtful teaching this month, that's up to you. Trust yourself to know the difference.